Okay, hi everybody. I'm carving this model, which I made in wood and fiber and clay. I'm going to be carving it using an ancient device called a macchina di punta. That means pointing machine in Italian. Now, what I've done is I've reproduced, let's see, this is my block of stone. It's a big one. And this frame of wood that I've made around it is equal to its parameter were it actually square and correct, which it's not. Because when you get into a block this big, it's almost never square and correct. So I had to build the frame toward the abstraction of what the block should be, and then reproduce that around the model, so that the frame is actually a measuring device. Now, in traditional stone carving, you would attach the macchina di punto to a frame, and you would put the frame back and forth from the block to the model several times, moving your needle as you went. Too much work on a piece of this size. So I redesigned the concept of the macchina di punto, and I made the frame stationary so that I could move the needle. And what I can now do, eventually you'll see it, I'll be able to move this board up, actually an equivalent, this board will never move, but I'll move the concept of it up as I go, so that I'll be able to move my needle up as I go and transfer the same exact thing here, so that whatever I have going on between these two pieces is the same, always. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to find a point right here on this fold of drapery, and to do that I'm going to have to adjust my device. I'm going to raise it up, tighten it up real good, and I'm going to locate a point right where I think I want to be. You may notice that all my points form lines. Not all of them, but the majority form lines on the high spots and on the low spots, so that I can predict with a certain degree of accuracy where the next point is going to be. Truth is, you're never right when you predict, but it does give you some reasonable capacity to try and predict where you're going to be. Now I'm going to mark the point. I don't know, yeah, there we go. I'm going to mark the point that I've located, and I'm going to double check that it's right. I'm going to pull my slider back. Notice how I prevent movement with this finger while I pull the slider back with that one. It's a two-finger movement. There's so much leverage here, and I've used this tool for years, that it's very easy to knock it out of whack. And if you knock it out of whack, and you don't realize you knocked it out of whack, you can put a point down that you think is correct, and it's not even close. So I always try to do what I just did. Now, I've got registration marks here on the board, 2, 4, 6, 8, all the way, every 2 inches. And in 2 cases, at 36 and 40, where I'm focusing on detail, if I put my frame on this side of the board, which makes it a lot easier, I can't reach the model. So I've had to transfer the line across to the back side at 36 and 40, so that I can get enough reach to go over where I need to be, which is right now, right there. So I'm going to disconnect my clamp, which holds my device, which I have modified to fit my board. Now I have to go in here like this and find, oh, damn, I just whacked it with my head. Have to start over. Let me double check. You have to be sure every single time, and whacking it with your head counts as a failure. So let me go, yep, I've knocked it out of whack. You can see it already. No, it's still in whack. Okay. Don't whack it with your head, Dale. What I try to do is try to put it into the deepest spot with my eye, and then move it behind the board with my peripheral vision, so that I don't whack it. So I'm real close. I'm going to line up the line with the frame on the back side here. And tighten it up. Now that's where I want to remove material. And this is a point, that's a point, that's a point. These points that I've already made equate to points over here that I've found within a 1/16 of an inch or less. So what I'm going to do now is going to get very loud. So I'm thinking maybe Paul should step back and zero in, at least a few feet, because it's going to get loud. Or you in the viewing audience should turn your volumes down, because it's going to get loud. I'm not wearing lung protection right now because I'm chiseling, and all of the stuff that's coming off of there is actually tiny rocks, and they pretty much just fall. Now when I'm cutting or blowing, so I'm filling the air with even tinier rocks, then I'm going to wear lung protection. You can damn well bet. What I'm doing is I've got compressed air in this hose. This is full blast. I mean, it's 100, 130 pounds. Not that it matters. And I've got an air hammer here, which is actually, inside here is a cylinder that vibrates back and forth because a ball bounces against it as the air is allowed to escape through the tool. That cylinder that's going back and forth bounces against a chisel. Now I have, in this case, I'm using long chisels. All my chisels are custom made by a blacksmith at Stone Tool Company in Evansville, Ellettsville, some shit like that, Indiana. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember right now. Bybee Stone Tool is the point. Dan makes my chisels. He's the best. These long ones enable me to work around the device without bumping it. If I had to try and get in there with short chisels, there's just no way. So, So, by building what is essentially a net of points, that's the way to think about it, in 3 dimensions around my model, I'm able to transfer that net to my stone. So, it's really interesting. There's what I'm going to do next, just to complete the process. I want to record the point that I made. So I'm going to first blow off excess dust. Now, frankly, this big block, which I just received, I've been on this now for, I don't know, a couple weeks. I mean, just the block. The whole project's months, of course. But the block sat outside for, a month or so before I was able to arrange for a 20,000 pound forklift to bring it in. The block is 18,000 pounds. My forklift will only handle 6. Point being, the block is soaking wet. And so I don't know if you can tell, you probably can't. Well, you can. You see how this is a different color than that? This is the natural stone with no dust sticking to it. This is dust sticking to the damn stone because the stone is wet. And so all of this is covered with wet dust, which means that A, it doesn't reflect light correctly, B, I can't see the grains, and C, the wet dust tends to want to cover up my points that I've recorded. So a wet stone is just a real pain in the butt. I mean, I'm just going to tell you. And it started out very slow. As the stone dries out, A, I'll be a lot faster, and B, it'll be more enjoyable. I won't have to worry about whether I'm going to burn a point. If you burn a point, you've major league screwed up. Because, especially in drapery, you know, everything's got to be a contour. That's what it is. So, anyway, I'm going to record this point on a piece of this scale. What I personally do, or, you know, the Italians, everybody's got a different way. I'm going to record my point with a pencil, okay? And then I'm going to get some Aquanet, which is an alcohol, therefore water dissolved based sealant. I'm going to spray my point so that it doesn't disappear when I blow with my compressed air. Clean everything off. The point stays there. Now, if I do what I just did, which I only did to make a point, which is to blow before the hairspray dries, I've defeated myself. So, you'll also see I've got screws here. The screw holds my air. The screw holds my headphones. I've made myself a little table. I've also, you'll notice, that I've got things basically the same height and so the distance from one to the other, so that when I go to move my device, which needless to say I'm going to do about a gajillion thousand times, I don't have to move very far. I'm not going up and down stairs. You know what I'm saying? I'm paying attention to the fact, I just hit it with my damn pen again. Anyway, it doesn't matter because that point's been found. So, let's see. Yeah, you don't have to hit it very hard before you whack that sucker. So, anyway, that's what I've been doing now and will be doing for a long time. This is what I'm calling slash and burn, which is when I take a grinder. This is a grinder, and I use it to cut parallel lines. I then take my hammers, various sorts of hand chisels. Yes, these go back, you know, a long-ass way. They're all wedge-shaped, so that you can drive the chisels in between the slash and burn, which causes the slash and burn to break out. I don't have any slash and burn to do for you right now, so I'm not going to. But you get the idea. Here's where you're going to screw up. You're going to predict that this point is in front of this point, because it just looks to you in your head. So you just decide to go, wah, like you know what the hell you're doing, like a young man would. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Yes, I've done it before. So no, you keep this extra. There's no reason to mess with this. You keep your focus here where your focus needs to be, so that you don't cut too much. Like this little tiny point right there, the difference between here and there, these are 4 points I found in that much space. The reason being is that one is the beginning of a whole new fold. So if I wipe it out, I've taken that fold and, you know, I bothered to make it because I wanted it to be there, but because I was a cocky carver, I cut it out. So no, you don't do that. This is all this big stroke, big stroke, big stroke. That's for tomorrow. Today, it's right here. What I'm working on right now is today. And the problem with today has been, as you can tell, the chips fall and they get built up because this point is higher than here. So everything down here wants to act like a damn receptacle for chips, which means you can't see it anymore. So you're constantly blowing out concaves, deep stuff, surrounded by areas you don't want to lose. Or a pain in the butt and take forever. You want your chips to just fall. That makes it easy. That's hard. So, anyway, thanks for watching, and thank you, Paul, for doing the videography, and thanks to my client for giving me the opportunity to do this. And I'm tired. Good night.